This is CBS.
At National and Canal-Villery, we're pleased to have been associated with the TV show you have just watched and Channel 4's television reading program. For those of you who participated by reading along with your scripts, we're sure it enhanced your enjoyment of the show. For those students who didn't, we hope you'll actively participate next time. For the way we live today, the power of television can be an important learning resource in all of our lives.
Ooh, ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Ain't nothing like the real thing.
Burger King introduces chicken tenders, real fillets of all-white meat chicken breast, not processed like nuggets. Delicious chicken fillets cooked in pure vegetable oil.
Ain't nothing like the real thing.
New chicken tenders from Burger King, not chicken nuggets, real chicken fillets.
There is only one way to go. Up. Come up to the gold medal standard and live it. At Bryan Chevytown, we understand mobility, flexibility, and price. And right now, for only $105 down and $105 a month, you can lease a 4-door Sprint or a new S10 pickup. We focus on what you need to get where you're going. Go for the gold at your gold medal Chevy dealer, Bryan Chevytown.
Get set and save for spring entertaining at the Maison Blanche Home Sale. Save on imported lead crystal starting at $249. Silver and crystal salad bowls. Silver trays with gold accents. Great savings on fine china, including Gorham, Noritake, Royal Dalton, and Wedgwood. And dinnerware with a Louisiana flair. On sale now for your home.
Like nobody else.
At all Maison Blanche stores.
Channel 4, WWL-TV, New Orleans. Garland Robinette, Angela Hill, Jim Henderson, and meteorologist Dave Barnes with Channel 4's Eyewitness News Nightwatch.
In the wake of the attack, the United States is now waiting to hear from Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi.
Though the U.S. attack has drawn response from across the globe, the Libyan leader has remained silent. Pictures of Gaddafi broadcast on French television are leading to some speculation that he was injured in the attack, but that remains unconfirmed. Libya's only response so far has been a weak attack on a U.S. installation in the Mediterranean. No one was hurt and no damage reported. In the meantime, Libya licks its wounds and the world waits to see what happens next. Frank Turner reports.
The Libyan dead and wounded are still being counted, but the numbers pulled from the aftermath of the U.S. strike include more than just military personnel.
There are some children, there are women, some men.
President Reagan says he spoke to Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi in the only language he would understand, a message that surely hit home. 2 of Gaddafi's sons are among the wounded, his youngest daughter among the dead.
Colonel Gaddafi ought not to underestimate either the capacity or legitimate anger of a free people.
American bombers returned safely to aircraft carriers in the Mediterranean, all but one. The search continues for an F-111 fighter plane and its crew, Air Force Captains Fernando Ribos Dominici and Paul Lawrence.
I regret very much that we can't locate that other F-111.
In the rubble-filled streets of Tripoli, the Libyan people were busy, collecting their injured, expressing their anger. The Libyan military would show only this area to American journalists, where embassies are heavily damaged and homes destroyed. Destruction that started when 18 U.S. bombers from England began their raid on the shores of Tripoli and Benghazi. 5 targets were hit, believed to be terrorist training camps. A port facility was hit where U.S. intelligence says Libyan frogmen are trained. Also struck the Tripoli airport and a military airfield. Back on American soil, there is increased fear of terrorist retaliation and a warning from government officials that the worst may be yet to come.
FAA was out here over the weekend. They make a periodic inspection check.
not only our airport, but other airports. I think there's going to be a heightened sense of security.
Airline spokesmen say heightened security has already been in place for some time, and there's little else to be done except more of the same. But federal sky marshals will soon be earning some overtime as the FAA plans to keep an increased number of the air police flying.
Terrorism knows no bounds, so we can very well expect it in this country also as time goes on.
But for Americans overseas, the time for worry is now.
And now we're here, and we want to get out of here.
And while American officials don't know when or where, they know retaliation is imminent. Frank Turner, Eyewitness News, Nightwatch.
Well, threats of a new wave of anti-American terrorism are surfacing in the wake of a U.S. attack on Libya. A radical Palestinian group headed by Abu Nidal is threatening to attack U.S. interests worldwide. Other terrorist groups have also signaled vengeance for the U.S. military move. Other nations in the Arab world called for an emergency Arab summit to discuss what they call American aggression.
Perhaps one casualty of the American attack on Libya is the proposed summit meeting between President Reagan and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev later this year. Gorbachev today said the U.S. action had stamped out chances for better superpower relations. A crucial meeting next month that was supposed to have laid the groundwork for the summit was canceled today.
Even if you have 100% proof, if you strike a capital of a nation because one man was killed, then I would say that it's a violation of international law.
The U.S. attack is also drawing protests from the British public. Demonstrators fear possible Libyan retaliation for the role Britain played in the attack. In the meantime, French citizens are upset over their government's refusal to help.
I feel really ashamed with a big A, ashamed, really.
I wanted to help. Just what I was thinking this morning.
If Gaddafi had been killed during the raid, everyone would have been happy here.
While Israel and Canada supported the attack, there are reports tonight of anti-American demonstrations in Italy and Mexico. The lukewarm response of U.S. allies has resulted in some heated reaction from Capitol Hill.
That's right. Louisiana Representative Bob Livingston praised Great Britain for its cooperation in the Libyan attack and had a warning for those allies that weren't so helpful.
The rest of our allies in the NATO Western Europe alliance, frankly, weren't much help. And I think that we have to consider that when we discuss the appropriations for those countries and for the defense of those nations in the future.
Livingston also urged Louisianians to stand behind the president's actions, saying an attack like this has been long overdue. The unrest in Libya might be spreading to nearby Sudan. Tonight, an American embassy worker was seriously wounded. The unidentified employee was shot in the head as he was leaving the American office. No one has claimed responsibility for the attack. The president has been notified about that shooting.
Well, besides Libya, many Americans are thinking about the federal government in another way tonight. Thousands of New Orleanians are joining millions of Americans in post office lines and last-ditch efforts to meet the midnight deadline. Mike Longman reports.
With only hours left to spare, New Orleanians idled in line, waiting to make the midnight deadline. With horns blaring, occasional tempers flaring, the procession filed by postal workers, who grabbed the handfuls of returns through passenger door windows and even sunroofs. Some filing returns now consider their procrastination something of a strategy.
I think they wait till 11th hour to give it back, so I'll wait till 11th hour to give it back to them.
Are you receiving or collecting?
Giving.
Others chose not to make the midnight deadline and were filing an extension instead of a return.
Well, hopefully I'll just have to pay a penalty in dollars and not years.
There were even those in line who were still working with their tax form.
I sealed it up and something may be missing, you know, and I wanted to make sure.
And nearby at the Hyatt Regency, a Harahan couple drove downtown at the last minute to take advantage of an IRA tax shelter. The right to keep a few extra bucks from Uncle Sam doesn't come cheap.
Some major bucks, yes, to save, well, you know, it comes off the top of your gross and your retirement, so.
It's not just people who owe money who wait this late to file. Some of these people are getting money back.
Just procrastinating.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Well, good luck on getting it back. When do you think you'll see the money?
Hopefully by the 4th of July.
The IRS has already handled 67 million returns and paid out $33 billion. Those filing now and expecting a return can expect to wait about 7 to 8 weeks. Mike Longman, Eyewitness News Nightwatch.
And still to come on Eyewitness News Nightwatch, Mayor Morial stages a media event.
That and the tough choices legislators will face next week.
Here comes the celebration. 2 weeks of savings at Home's Big Birthday Sale.
Happy birthday!
It starts tomorrow with Courtesy Day, something very special at Home's. Courtesy Day means the biggest bargains and the biggest selection.
Oh, my!
Courtesy Day is Home's very own way of saying thank you.
Thank you!
With a store full of dramatic savings in every department. So don't miss Courtesy Day tomorrow, because it's the start of a 2-week saving spree at Home's Birthday Sale.
Throughout the generations, Louisiana has had its own traditions. Our tradition in banking is Hibernia National Bank, where keeping ahead of Louisiana's financial needs has made ours a tradition of results. For every money management tool you could ever need, you'll find the results you're looking for in our exclusive Tower service. It brings you preferred market rates, liquidity, a combined monthly statement, phone call convenience for money transfers, and more. There is a difference in banks. At Hibernia, the difference is results.
There are over 20 radio stations playing great music in New Orleans, but there's one that's not like the others, WWL News Radio 87. We get you started in the morning with the latest news and information, and we stay with you everywhere you go with all you need to know about the weather, traffic conditions, sports, financial and consumer information, and much more. It's the news and information you need and never have to wait for, and it's as close as 87 on the AM dial of your radio. WWL News Radio 87, the radio station for news and information.
Another sign of the end of an era in New Orleans politics tonight. Outgoing Mayor Dutch Morial threw another party, this for the local media. Morial has often criticized the press for what he says is unfair treatment, but tonight he treated the press to crawfish, beer, and music. Though he tried to keep the evening light, Morial fired off a bit of sarcasm in describing the soiree.
Go ahead. It's a thank you party. Thanking them for all the kind treatment I received. For all their graciousness, their hospitality, and their kindness over the last 8 years. And showing them how much I appreciate 8 years of inaccuracies.
The Morial administration officially comes to an end May 5th.
State politicians will be bombarded with legislation when they meet in regular session next week. A federal official is in town now hoping to lobby for one new law. Present state statutes do not provide a local avenue for home buyers and renters who feel they're victims of discrimination.
So, of course, when people complain now or bring suit, they bring it under the federal law instead of the state law, which means they have to take the case to a federal court.
Dean says the Department of Housing and Urban Development is working with local real estate agents and mortgage bankers to push for a fair housing law in the upcoming session, but the fair housing law may be the least of the legislators' worries.
Yes, lawmakers will be scrapping, trying to balance a budget that is hundreds of millions of dollars in the red. One solution, to cut deeply, but that won't be easy, and it may not be enough. John Snell examines the choices and their impact on you as Louisiana approaches the turning point.
For West Bank commuters, every day it's hurry up and wait.
Right now, traffic control is in effect on the West Bank side of the Greater New Orleans Bridge.
And now they are told they will have to pay to do this. The dreaded bridge tolls are coming back.
And of course, the tolls will just make it slower. You know, it's going to be disastrous.
You have to leave earlier to go to work.
The toll's going to stop the traffic, so it's going to still be congested. So, you know, it really is, you know, it's not going to be worth it.
Finding the money was never a problem in the 1970s when the state ran on oil and optimism. The new link between East and West would be the largest single capital project in Louisiana history, $600 million. But the well has run dry, and the bridge is 6 years behind schedule. Louisiana is already up to here in debt. In good times, the state spared no expense. In bad times, it's paying the price. Each year, in just interest on debt, Louisiana pays out $176 for every man, woman, and child in the state. That's double the average. Louisiana is very good at spending money. Conservatives note there are 13 four-year universities.
We had all this money we could afford to do this kind of stuff, but we can't afford it anymore.
In the state with the highest unemployment in the country, government is a good place to find work. Louisiana far outdistances its neighbors in payroll. For every 10,000 people, Texas has 115 state workers. Arkansas and Mississippi more than 150. But Louisiana is tops, 188 workers per 10,000 population. That's not to say public employees are prospering. Teachers and state workers have been denied a promised pay raise 3 years running. And the prospect of layoffs looms larger every day. A legislative committee recommends $400 million in cuts. New Orleans would lose more than $6 million in direct monies, its share of tobacco and liquor taxes. Some advocate a full-scale remodeling of state government.
The time has come for us to start to function and to think like the other 49 states in the American Union.
Perhaps nothing epitomizes the debate like Charity Hospital. No other state has such an elaborate structure aimed at providing health care for its poor.
I have attacks quite often, you know.
Daphne Wilson, an unemployed widow, figures she needs charity.
I know I'll just have to stay home and die because I don't have money to go to a private hospital.
Charity is hit from all sides. While the hospital industry copes with intense competition, Charity is 80% full. The hospital has so far survived the bloodletting, but critics insist the state should dump Charity in favor of private enterprise.
We are the lowest in the nation for being reimbursed for Medicare and Medicaid. It's a disgrace.
The cost of providing care in the charity hospital system is less expensive than it would be in the private sector.
The governor's own commission on the economy suggests the state should study the idea of privatizing charity, but its chairman urges caution.
I think one of our problems historically has been to move before we think, and I think it's much more important that we start to think before we move.
Just as with every other state program, charity has a built-in constituency, like 56-year-old Ruby Pendleton.
Because without charity, a lot of us poor people couldn't make it. So I think we really need charity.
So it's got to be the legislators who have some sense, that know really where the dollar's going, how it's being wasted, to stand up and say, look, we're going to make the changes and we're going to prove to you this is better for you.
5 yeas, 4 nays.
It's a long way from committee room to final passage, but Big Oil no longer pays the bills, and the message from Baton Rouge is somebody will have to. John Snell, Eyewitness News Nightwatch.
Tomorrow night, raising revenue and what that might cost you. Still to come on Eyewitness News Nightwatch, LSU Athletic Director Bob Broadhead winds up in court.
And America appears to be changing its diet.
If you could see through walls, you could see termites. But normally you won't see termites until it's too late, often thousands of dollars too late. You need America's #1 choice, Orkin.
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 Now with a total repair guarantee that says if termites damage your home after treatment, we'll repair it, whatever the cost. No wonder people choose Orkin far more than any other company.
Orkin.
Call the Orkin Army, #1 against pests.
A ring?
Tonight on Channel 4.
You bought me a ring? Dr. Gates is getting married.
Well, I guess it's for real this time, huh? You and Bonnie? How'd you guess?
Why do you have to come here?
Maybe he'll be discharged before Gonzo finds out.
Marty Wicks, your husband, ex-husband, is back.
You must saved my guts.
I'm not sure how I feel.
I'm not sure I want you operating on me. I want you healthy and on your feet so that we can slug it out as equals.
Trapper John, 11:05 tonight on Channel 4.
1 out of 9 obstetricians surveyed has stopped delivering babies. Some mothers have had to find new doctors. Others have had to travel elsewhere to give birth. It's part of the lawsuit crisis. Lawsuits are costing more and more. Obstetricians have been hit hard. Many think it isn't worth the risk. What can be done? Call for this free report. Learn how to protect your rights and help fight the lawsuit crisis. Learn how you can stop paying the price.
Are souvenirs all you save when you take a trip? If so, Eastern Airlines has an announcement for you. Right now, what's really memorable are Eastern's prices. New York Newark is only $79. Washington, D.C. is only $69, and almost 100 other cities are just as affordable. So call Eastern and save something besides souvenirs.
So you mean the hottest team in baseball didn't let a cold night in Cleveland dampen their spirits?
That's funny. You know, I was going to say that. And,
see, I didn't do that.
You would do that. I expect that from you.
What a
but
nice guy.
I wouldn't have expected.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Been with me too long.
Okay, the Yankees. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. One of the hottest teams in baseball didn't let a cold night in Cleveland dampen their fast start in the '86 Major League season. First-year manager Lou Piniella is handling the players and the more difficult owner in New York quite well. One thing that's making it easy is the solid starting pitching, and that's Joe Niekro, brother of Phil. Here he gets the strikeout against the Cleveland Indians, and he would pitch a 4-hitter into the 8th inning. Scoreless game, though, top of the 4th. Mike Easler, a base hit for New York. Willie Randolph scores easily, but watch Big Dave Winfield. He hesitates going around third, and that cost him because when he got to the plate, the ball was there, too. He was out of there. Yanks pick up a run later anyway. In the 7th here, 2 out. Ricky Henderson going on the pitch. Willie Randolph slaps the ball to right. Run scores. That made it 3-zip New York. Added to that, they have won 6 of 7 games so far this season. Final was 6-2. That's their 5th straight. In the 9th inning, Oakland leading Minnesota. In the 2nd inning, Danny Tartabull had a grand slam for Seattle, their young second baseman. They are leading the Angels 8-0, and the Tigers and White Sox, that one postponed because of snow. On the National League side of things, the Braves were seeing red in Atlanta, especially pitcher Jeff Dedman, who pitches here to Dave Parker with a 1-run lead, but not anymore. Opposite field, 3-run homer for Parker, his 4th home run of the season. That made it 4-2 Cincinnati, and they go on to win it by the score of 5-3. In the 4th inning, the Dodgers in San Diego are scoreless. Houston defeated San Francisco this afternoon. Will Clark had a home run in that game. 11 innings before Montreal knocked off the Cubbies, and the Pirates and Phillies, they were rained out. Tulane's baseball team, playing as an independent now, is making the most of it in their quest for enough wins to gain a spot in the NCAA regional tournament. That's some time off, but their game today will get them in that direction. They faced an NAIA school, and that was the Badgers of Spring Hill. After a walk forced in a run, Spring Hill springs back. Top of the 2nd, Mike Brown with a base hit. 2 runs come home to tie the game, but Sammy Amarina gets out of the jam. Badger starter Tim Garraway could not get out of this jam. Danny Wagner sends a wicket hop through the infield, and that gets a run home for Tulane. Garraway forced home 2 more runs with walks. He ended up with a total of 10 in the contest. Tulane won and then went on to sweep the doubleheader. But there are still some things that they need to correct.
One of the things that has disturbed me is that we haven't been able to get all of our hitters to hit at the same time. We've had great streaks by Chris Rivette, by Gary Desjardins, by Danny Wagner, and I just feel that if we can get everybody to hit together, that we could have a very strong finish and give ourselves a great opportunity to play a lot of postseason baseball.
Tulane has won 35 games this year against 9 losses after their sweep today. UNO outscored Nicholls State, and LSU at home. They win tonight 5-4. The Tigers will be in town to play UNO tomorrow night. Bob Broadhead, saying he's tired of being bugged by the whole thing, will plead guilty on Friday to a misdemeanor charge of wiretapping. LSU's athletic director appeared voluntarily before a grand jury today in Baton Rouge. He insists he violated no laws when he installed electronic bugging equipment in his office to catch someone who was leaking information. And he and his attorney have worked a deal with federal prosecutors, so he apparently will avoid a jail sentence and a possible $1,000 fine. The NBA playoffs will tip off Thursday with 16 teams facing off in 8 best-of-5 series. One of the very few who did not reach the postseason is the LA Clippers. Today they named former New Orleans Jazz head coach Elgin Baylor as their director of operations. The man who directed the Louisville Cardinals to the NCAA title this year was named as college basketball's coach of the year today by the Sporting News. Denny Crum, who's coached the Cards to 4 trips to the Final Four in the 80s, picks up his 2nd such award from that national publication. The most publicized player on the NC State team this past season is going to pass on his 2 years of college and go pro. Chris Washburn, the 6'11" sophomore center for the Wolfpack, will be in the NBA draft in June. He led his team in scoring and rebounding, but has had legal and academic problems. And Tulane basketball, of course, no longer at the school, but they are starting club basketball. Anyone interested should call George Turpey at the University Center. It'll be on a competitive level with other schools, so that's good that some basketball is coming back.
Well, that'll be
certainly
fun
is.
for him. Let me tell you about some fun things happening this weekend. Friday night It's going to be a night at the Copa. I love the theme. That's the theme for a spectacular fundraising event at Zamurray Gardens, and that's in Hammond. They're going to turn the whole gardens into this theme. It's a big fundraiser for the Richard Murphy Hospice Foundation, which helps terminally ill people. And apparently it's going to be a terrific event, and I think the gardens having it outside and everybody dressing like the theme will be fun. Then on Saturday, a lot of people look forward to this, the Brother Martin Grand Auction. That's going to be at the school Saturday night, 7 to 11. And the stuff they're going to auction is incredible. I mean, Oriental rugs, trips for two to San Francisco, a shopping spree. You know I'll be there.
I better keep you away.
Exactly. But it should be great fun, and that's at Brother Martin on Saturday. And go ahead and call the school for tickets.
Okay. All right. Now some good news for Louisiana's fishing industry. A new government report says Americans are increasingly substituting seafood for red meat. The government says a record 14.5 pounds of fish was consumed per person last year. That's nearly a pound more than the year before. The report credits the higher fish consumption to increased availability and variety of fish at restaurants and supermarkets.
Still to come on Eyewitness News Nightwatch, there is still time to see Halley's Comet.
Dave Barnes will tell us the best time and place to view it.
Ain't nothing like the real thing. Oh no.
Burger King introduces real fried chicken, new chicken tenders.
Ain't nothing like the real thing.
Not processed like nuggets, all white meat chicken breast fillets.
Ain't nothing like the real thing.
New chicken tenders from Burger King. Real good, real chicken fillets.
Carrier high-efficiency air conditioners and heat pumps are so reliable, you'll probably have no use for the 5 years of parts and labor you get free. In fact, if you need a repair just once, you'll get $25 for your trouble.
5 years? Yes, free parts and labor. 25 bucks? Yes, sir. You seen you? I doubt it.
Ask your Carrier dealer about the 5-year free parts and labor offer. Chances are you'll have no use for it.
Lighting Incorporated is ready to brighten your home with new excitement. So when decorating, start at the top. Lighting Incorporated.
Edison would have bought it here.
While car prices go higher, your performance Pontiac dealers strike back with new lower finance rates. 6.9% financing on sporty mid-engine Fieros. 7.9 or 8.9% financing on all Pontiacs. From Pontiac 6000 to Grand Am. From Sunbird to Trans Am, save hundreds in finance charges on any Pontiac you buy. Plus, beat the price increase to save hundreds more. Strike back at Peretti, Jerome, Glenn Cox, Causeway, Porsche, Caruba, Fertitta, and Greg LeBlanc.
Dave, do you think when they changed the name from Haley's that it messed it up, just made it kind of boring?
I don't think they changed the name. It was always Halley's. Don't tell me that now.
And you mean that little thing is what you can talk about?
You've got to go far out of town to an area, maybe on the coast, where there aren't many lights to look at it. The main thing is no lights around, and it'll be around 10 and 11 o'clock. We'll see in just a moment. Okay. 61 degrees under clear skies, and the skies will be clear the next night or two to view Halley's Comet. Audubon has 63, Slidell 64, the humidity 56%, the barometric pressure 30.05, steady winds from the west at 8 miles per hour, and now a look at Halley's Comet. Indeed, it will still be visible for the next few days. It's near Centaurus. Here it is, located right up here. It would be for the next day or two to the north and, or rather above and to the right of the main body of Centaurus at about, this is a rough angle, 22 degrees above the horizon, and it's a little bit west of due south and can be viewed between 10 and 11 p.m. So good luck. The skies will be clear tonight and tomorrow night. That big storm is still milling around up around the Great Lakes region at the present time, with the winds rotating in a counterclockwise and inward direction into the low-pressure system. The winds are now down to only 30 to 40 miles per hour. You remember yesterday they were blowing at speeds of over 80 miles per hour, and the snow up there is kind of wet in most areas, occurring in places like Illinois and Indiana and Michigan and western parts of Ohio, but a lot of it is mixed with rain. Not quite as cold as it was yesterday, although it's still a little on the chilly side in that region there. And there's a cold front, a pretty strong one, moving into the western part of the country, bringing some rain, and in higher elevations of the northern Rockies, even some snow in that region there. And we'll be watching that front because it's going to move on toward the east, and it could affect us over the weekend. But for tomorrow, high pressure is going to give us another beautiful day. The high temperatures tomorrow will be in the 40s and 50s in the northeast, except in the higher elevations in the 30s where the snow occurs. And as far as the evening forecast is concerned, it couldn't look much better. Clear and cool with the lows in the 40s north of the lake, also areas to the west and east, and the areas to the south of the lake mostly in the low to mid 50s. Here in the city, somewhere in the middle 50s, most likely the way it is right now. Sunny and mild tomorrow with a high 75 to 80 degrees. And then let's take a look at the extended period. Over the weekend, there's a possibility that this front, accompanied by an upper-level trough, could move into eastern Texas and increase the moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico. If that works, we do have a chance for showers and thunderstorms over the weekend. The possibility that it won't work is because of the fact that the main storm center, I think, is going to end up being to the north of us. Nonetheless, there's enough of a chance for showers and thunderstorms over the weekend that I'm going to now put it in as a risk over the weekends, and you'll notice it'll be warm and humid. But for the next 2 days, that is the following 2 days after tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, will still be fair and on the mild side. In fact, during the afternoon, I would say it will be darn right warm. The marine forecast calls for northerly winds 12 to 18 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet, and fair skies through tomorrow. The average range on the tides near the open coast about 1.5 feet or almost so. The lake temperature 70, the sea temperature 67 degrees. And good luck to everybody viewing the comet. I do hope you see it.
Yeah. You got to have 20/20 vision for this now, don't you, Dave?
I do.
And binoculars. Still ahead, the best movie director in Cutoff, Louisiana.
A talk with a man who brought Belizaire the Cajun to life.